From Anshe Sfard Beth El Emeth Congregation, it's time to take 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of Parshat Va'era. They didn't know the name of God? At the beginning of the Parsha, it says, Hashem spoke to Moshe. He told him, I am Hashem. The Tetragrammaton. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the name of Kel Shakai. Two names of God. Ushmi Hashem, the Tetragrammaton, Lo Nodati Lehem. I didn't make it known to them. Says the son of the Rambam says, this is a riddle. Or either that or it's a big problem. I mean, it says several times that God told the forefathers that I am Hashem. The covenant of the parts, the Brit Bein Tarim, God appears to him and he tells him he's Hashem. So there's no great revelation here that Hashem is named Hashem. So how could the Torah claim that God never told Avraham that he is Hashem? Avraham calls him Hashem Elokim. It's kind of absurd. He doesn't know that his name is Hashem. He says, once he appeared to him, Kel Shakai, but it's kind of obscene. Ani Hashem, when Yaakov was at the dream, Hashem says to him, Ani Hashem. He says to him, Vayomer Elav, Ani Hashem. So how can we say that he never told the forefathers that he's Hashem? Very difficult. So we have to understand, what does it mean to be Hashem? So when God says, I am Hashem, very often Rashi says, Neman l'shalom schar. You can trust me, I'm going to pay, I'll pay you a reward, I'll give a punishment. Ani Hashem. So Moshe is going to be shown the power of Hashem. He's going to change nature. There are going to be things that, the water's going to turn to blood. So that power of Hashem, that he is this ultimate power, that was never shown to the forefathers. It's true, they knew the name of God, Hashem, but they didn't understand that. Or, as one earlier commentator said, you should read it like this. And the name of God, I didn't show them as much as I'm going to show you. I'm going to really show you that my power. They didn't see it completely. Rabbi David Tzvi Hoffman says, there's a lot of things that the forefathers didn't see. The chosenness of the Jewish people as a nation, the laws, they didn't get any, very few laws that they got, just a bris. There's so many laws that they're going to get at Sinai and this 613 commandments. And of course, they didn't get any actual physical land. The Ramban says that the name of God implies mercy. And God didn't have to deal with Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov with so much mercy. They were great people. So God dealt with them with Dina Rafia, with a gentle, judgmental hand. The God of justice, so to speak. But now, to deal with the Jews, and to take the Jews who are idol worshippers out of Egypt, it needs to be God of mercy. And that name of God, which the Tetragrammaton reflects mercy, that they hadn't experienced. So that's one approach. One approach is that somehow they didn't experience Hashem the way that Moshe is now going to experience Hashem. This relates to the fact that Moshe is a higher level prophet than Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. He didn't have just dreams. He spoke to God face to face. So there's a whole different level that's coming up. Rashi says that Ani Hashem is, he says, I didn't know Nodati, I didn't make it known because I didn't fulfill what I said. I promised certain things, which is great. God promises things to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, but he didn't give them the land of Israel yet. So that's what's special about Moshe, and that he had not told, he didn't show the forefathers. Nodati means hodati. There's a little linguistic problem here. Lo nodati means that it was not revealed to them with his name, but lo hodati means, Rashi reads it as lo hodati. I didn't inform them of the actual execution of the promises of God. However, there are some other approaches. The name of God, I didn't explain to them. That's what Rashbam basically says. Rashbam says, I told you that I will be what I will be. Remember last week's parsha, the burning bush? God said, Eyeh asher eyeh. I will be what I will be. That, some say, is the explanation of the Tetragrammaton, that God is, was, and always will be. So I never explained to him the meaning of it, which relates to the Avram ben Arambam, the Rambam's son. He had an interpretation like this. He said, look, I could know that somebody's name is, Tim, John, Label, Shimon, whatever the name is. But there's another thing to know what the name means. If you look at one of these books over here, the Kolach book, it'll tell you what every name means. What does Stacy mean? Okay, you'll find out. But many of us don't know what Stacy means or Jennifer. We don't know what these names mean. So the name Hashem, you say, what's God's name? Oh, it's Hashem. Oh, great, I got it. That's what his name is. But they didn't understand it. As Rashbam says, God explained to Moshe, I am and I was and I always will be. That's something that was not explained to the forefathers. They knew the name, but they didn't understand the meaning of the name, and that's a whole different story. Then there's an approach that's more or less shared by the Mari Kara, who was a contemporary of around the Rashi's time, and then the Shadal, who was from Italy a few hundred years ago, and then Hoil Moshe, who was 1800s in Germany. All kind of similar. The three of them say the following. Here's the first idea from the Mari Kara. He says, the forefathers had it easy. They were all wealthy men. They had children. Yeah, there were different trials and tribulations. Yeah, but more or less, they had it good. But the idea of such evil, that the Jews would endure this indignity of slavery, this oppression, evil, confronting evil, this they had never encountered. And this is something new. Hashem, I think, meaning that although you experience something very harsh, God is still merciful. To understand that God is merciful, even when you experience something very harsh, that they hadn't experienced. Or as the Shadal says, he wanted to show both the good and the bad, the power of God in the 10 plagues, and the greatness of God in the 10 commandments, and the greatness of God in all these miracles, so that they would fear God. Ani Hashem is the awesome God that had not been experienced yet, the power of God, and that both good and bad. Or as the Holy Moshe put it, that basically Gamzula Tova, that even the evil is for the good. The slavery turned out to be great. We learned through the School of Hard Knocks how to become a nation, and then we achieve great things. So perhaps one might suggest that what the three of them are suggesting is, the Lord is one. What does it mean, Hashem Echad? Hashem Elokeinu, God is our judge, so judgment, but Hashem is the merciful God. Judgment is something else. No, it's all one. The idea that God is all one, that there's mercy within judgment, even with the most difficult circumstances, God is still merciful. That is something Moshe is going to learn through the slavery and the 40 years in the desert and all that. And that was something the forefathers didn't experience because they had a pretty good life. One of the congregants asked, how good was their life? I mean, they had a lot of trials and travail. But nonetheless, basically, they hadn't confronted evil. However, it's the Ralbag who comes up with a bombshell of an answer, and the Akeres Yitzchak, Rabbi Yitzchak Rama, lived a little bit later after the expulsion from Spain. They came up with an answer that's quite clever. If you look at the Parsha, it starts on verse 2. Verse 2. What was verse 1? Hashem said to Moshe, you will see what I will do for Egypt, because for the strong hand I will send them, and with a strong hand Pharaoh will chase them out of the land. And Hashem spoke to Moshe, and he said, I am God, and I appeared to the forefathers. So comes the Ralbag and the Yitzchak Rama, and he says, what's the antecedent? I did not tell them my name. So you think it's like this. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob with the name Kel Shakai, and the name of Hashem, I didn't tell them, meaning Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. I didn't tell them. But that's wrong. God did tell them his name was Hashem. They themselves used the name of Hashem. So what are you talking about? So he says, no, you don't know the antecedent. Listen to read it like this. Hashem said to Moshe, you're going to see what I'm going to do to Pharaoh, because with a strong hand, he's going to send them, the Jews, and with a strong hand, with a strong hand, namely of God, Pharaoh, will chase them, Yigar Shem, from his land, them, the Jews. So then Hashem said, I am God. I appeared to Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, but I did not tell them, the Jews, the name of God. I've told Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov individually, but the nation, I have not told them I am God yet. I'm going to tell them at Mount Sinai that Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the Lord your God. But he hadn't told them yet. He's going to make them a great nation, and he'll take them as a people. Maybe that relates to the succeeding verses of the 4 languages of redemption, right? Or really 5 languages that I'll save them and I'll redeem them, and I will take them as my people, and I will be a God to them. And they will know that I am God. Because I didn't tell them about that I'm God, but I will. We're going to have 10 commandments. We'll go to Israel, and they will have 10 plagues. They will know that I am God. But I haven't told them yet about Hashem, the great power of Hashem, the great mercy of Hashem. That I haven't told them yet. So there is some kind of distinction here between the forefathers and Moses. And perhaps this relates to one of the 13 principles of faith, that prophecy of Moshe is unique. It's not like any of the other prophets. Prophecy of Moshe is with great power of Hashem directly, and gives him this incredible power of miracles and changing nature. Not something we found by the forefathers. And that there's a qualitative nature difference between Moshe's prophecy and anyone else's, including Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Thank you for joining us here in Anshi's Fire Beth Lehem congregation for our discussion of the beginning of the Parsha. Join us each week for a discussion of the holidays, how-to videos, and more. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein. To learn more, visit asb.org.